Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of MMA Picks with Ant and Jay. Today, we're breaking down UFC London, but before we do that, how you doing, man?
Doing great, bro. I'm excited for this card. We got another early one, got the schedule right, ready to watch this, earn some money. This is definitely a big, heavy favorite card. There's definitely going to be some underdogs winning. Definitely be some parlays to be made. Let's get it, baby.
Oh, yeah. O2 Arena definitely will be rocking on Saturday morning. I guess evening over there, but morning for us over here on the West Coast especially.
Yep.
So, did you have a good card last card? I had a terrible one. So my track bet's awful. Thankfully, some live bets kind of kept me afloat. I was down like 3.5 units total. Was a lot worse tracked wise. So looking to bounce back this week.
Yeah, I lost almost 4 units. It was rough. There were some weird things that happened, some close fights,
right?
But hey, it is what it is. Ready to move on. I might be a little shell shocked this week, but we move forward regardless.
Right, I hear that. All right, well let's jump right into it. So we have first fight of the night. We're breaking down. Who is this first fight of the night? Nicolas Dalby and Claudio Silva. This is a very interesting matchup from the perspective that these guys are both, in their late 30s. What are they really fighting for? This is kind of just, guys are fighting for paychecks at this point. They're not fighting for titles. They're not fighting to be ranked. Like, they're not even gatekeeping right now. Like, I'm not really sure what this is. But tail of the tape shows that, like I said, both late 30s, fighting in 170 weight class, both 5'11", and Dalby will have the reach advantage. So it looks like tail of the tape will slightly favor Dalby. Not striking, but fighting style, Dalby's kind of more of a striker. Likes to push the pressure, fast pace, pretty good cardio. Silva's a grappler first. He wants to go for submissions. He throws power bombs, but it's really there to just set up a hopeful takedown that, his last couple fights have been not very impressive and not very good. So, what he did 2 or almost 3 years ago and 3 years ago, I don't really care. That's not super important to me anymore. His past couple performances, against James Krause and against Court McGee, he just pretty much was dominated. His gas tank is low. I'm leaning Dalby here. It's a wide line, but Silva really doesn't offer much. I will say, though, Dalby was in a compromised position in his last 3 fights. He lost to Jesse Ronson. That was a draw because Ronson tested positive for weed. So we all know that is not a performance-enhancing drug. Then he lost to Daniel Rodriguez. That was just a convincing loss. And then the Tim Means loss, he was put in a bad position. Means had his neck for a little bit. And then even in the win against Alex Oliveira, Oliveira had him hurt and also had his neck. So if Silva can hurt him potentially and grab his neck, maybe a sub is live. But I don't like to bank on that. So I'm rocking Dalby here. What do you think, man? How are you feeling with this first fight?
So I'm definitely on the Dalby side. I think you got the Jesse Ronson run. He actually tested positive for anabolic steroid.
Oh, really?
And then I think he was off 2 years potentially. Yeah. And, it's still not a good thing that he ended up in that position. And it was in the first round, so who knows really what really was the factor that happened there. Maybe it was an off night. Maybe it was metabolic steroid in his system. I don't know. I'm not going to knock him too hard for it, but I'm not going to give him bonus points for it by any means. He beat Daniel Rodriguez somehow, and blows my mind how he did that. I remember watching that fight too. I remember it was pretty close, and I think I was leaning towards D-Rod in that fight, but whatever. Claudio Silva, I think he's submission in the round 1 or bust. Think it's possible. That's why I'm not too. In the beginning of the week, I think I told you I thought Dalby was one of the biggest locks of the week, and I was like, then I went through it and I was like, no, he definitely isn't. But I definitely think he should win. But I think he's got to survive that first round, and I think he's going to have the better cardio as it gets later. He's the younger guy. He's got the better reach. So I'm going to lean Dalby. I might have him in a little parlay, nothing crazy. And they're mostly a fade on Silva. I think he's gotten up there in age. He might be a little towards the end of his career. He might be getting a last paycheck or two. He's lost, I think, his last 2 fights against decent competition too, but not decent, but solid competition, but still. I'm going to say Dalby. Might parlay him. I don't think I have anything at the minute yet, but I might. And yeah, that's how I'm leaning for this first fight.
Yeah, I think what you said is key. Is if Dalby can survive that first round, I don't think that Silva's going to have much gas to even pull off the submission in round 2 or round 3. If you go back and watch, especially the Court McGee fight, he's literally throwing just like wild just hooks and haymakers trying to tag somebody, and it's just not there. So
no striking,
yeah, his striking is just not really there. It's really just big wild punches, trying to clip somebody to hurt them so he can jump on a sub, which I don't hate that game plan, but when you're 39 years old, it's not going to work out too much. But we shall move on. Let me get our next fight pulled up. We have Mandy Bohm against Victoria Leonardo. This fight is I think it's going to be interesting, mainly because Victoria Leonardo has fought some pretty good competition. Aaron Blanchfield, Mana Fiora, and then Melissa Gatto. So, 3 out of her last 5 fights have been very good competition. And when you think about that paired with Mandy Bohm and who she is, I don't know. This fight's interesting. What are your thoughts on this one?
So I'm actually quite on the Leonardo side. I think the line is off. Now it's kind of pretty much even. I think she should be the favorite by nothing big. I think it should be flipped. The line should be flipped. She should be a -130, and Bohm should be a +110 or something like that. I think she's only lost to good competition in the UFC. I think she's got a solid all-around game. She does have a big reach disadvantage, but I don't think Mandy Bohm's a good striker by any means. I'm really gonna have to lean on the Leonardo side. I have a 2-unit play on her to start the card. No bet on the first one yet, but I have a 2-unit play on her, and I think I might even put her in just a small parlay with 1 or 2 other legs for a quarter of a unit. I think that I just don't think Mandy Bohm's good. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. I'm on the Bohm side, and I think it's mainly just from a talent perspective. When I look at Leonardo, she's really not that good. She doesn't bring anything great to the table. When I watch her, she's not very special, and that's not to say Mandy Bohm is. But I think that she has striking ability to some extent. I think she has the length. She's going to have a 6-inch reach. And a big thing also that's changed is, I know it says that she trains at SBG Ireland, but she definitely doesn't. She trains at Extreme Couture now. And she was trained there from her last fight, I'm pretty sure. And now she's still there. And we've seen fighters from Extreme Couture make pretty drastic changes to their fighting. Francis Ngannou's one of them, just off the top of my head. Sean Strickland's another guy who trains there. Action Man, he's another guy who trains there. There's numerous guys who, Puna Hele Soriano, who just had a big win. Got guys who I think are progressing and becoming better fighters. This fight's in Germany. This fight's in Germany. This fight's in Europe. Bohm is from Germany. I don't know. I think that talent-wise, Bohm is just better. And yes, Leonardo's the more physical fighter. She is going to pressure more. Optics might be in her favor, so I will agree with you on that. I just think all in all, Bohm is the better fighter. And she was really hyped up coming into the UFC. And she shit the bed her first fight in the UFC. And I expect her to have a bounce back fight. I'm not confident in it. I don't know if I'll have a bet on this. I doubt I'll have a bet on it. But who knows? We'll see if the line gets closer, if it gets to more even odds. I mean, why not? There's a reason why the bookies have Bohm as a favorite. I'm not sure why, but they like her for some reason. So
yeah, one thing I'd like to add too is, you know, the losses for Leonardo, Gatto, Fiora, Blanchfield, and Maverick. You know, I mean, she's been finished in like 3 out of those 4, but one of them was a broken arm to Gatto. She's come back from a broken arm. She's got a Naruto shirt on in her profile photo here.
That's Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, my bad. Dragon Ball Z. I don't know. Yeah, I just, you know, honestly, you take for any women's fight, you can take the underdog and probably feel okay with it unless they just get absolutely destroyed. And she might. She does, but
yeah,
taking those odds.
I mean, the one thing I'll say is Bohm sometimes she looks soft, as in like she's willing to just let people pressure her and be taken down and potentially fight off her back, or just fight off in the clinch. But I don't know.
Advantage is crazy though.
Yeah, she has a big reach advantage, and it's gonna be. She doesn't use it tremendously well, but she uses it decently well. And like I said, I think being at Extreme Couture, we can see her having some changes and just some development and kind of coming in with the game plan. But with that said, we will move on. We have our first little split of the night. Nice to start early, get a little dissent and have a little disagreement. Next fight of the night, we got Jai Herbert versus Kyle Nelson. This fight right here is really going to be the first fight I think that is going to set the crowd off, right?
Yep.
These guys are both pretty much kill or be killed fighters for the most part. We got Jai Herbert, who is 34 years old, Kyle Nelson, 31. Kyle Nelson's actually moving up in weight, I believe, up to 155 for this fight. So this is going to be a little bit different. He's taken, 2 years off, a year and 10 months, and he's really transformed his body. I saw a picture of him earlier today, and not saying like those pictures really matter all that much, but his body compared to how he looked in his fights that I watched, he looks like a different person.
He's fucking ripped.
He looked like Kutaladze. That's what he looked like. I thought it was Kutaladze, truthfully, because he had the beard and everything. And I double took. I was really confused. But this fight, I have a bet on this fight. It's a violence bet. That's the way I'm going. I don't want to pick a side here. I took fight doesn't go the distance, minus 250. I put 5 units on it. So I went pretty heavy on it. I think that it cashes pretty easily. The line is set at 1.5. You look at Jai Herbert's last fights, right hook, he lost. He won by a finish. He got choked out, was finished, and then he finished somebody else. Then you look at Kyle Nelson. He got finished. He finished someone. He got finished. He got finished. He finished someone. So, I mean, like, you look at these guys, literally, they're pretty much all their fights are being finishes. Jai Herbert is susceptible to getting slept.
Wait, so what line did you get on that? Sorry not to interrupt.
It was minus 250.
Okay, yeah, it's like minus 300 now, so you definitely beat it.
Yeah, so I put 5 units on it. 5 units to win 2, I believe. 2.5 or something like that.
Yeah, 2.1 or something.
Yeah, so it's nothing. It's not crazy, but I think it's a pretty safe lock to just kind of secure early in the night, get some units back, and maybe play with it later on in the card. Picking a sidewise, I'm gonna side Jai Herbert. I mean, if he does what he did to Ilia Topuria, Kyle Nelson's going out. Like,
he's a dead man walking.
Ilia Topuria is just a different beast, you know? And so when you think about that, I mean, Jai Herbert's nice. And he's not a bad fighter. And you look at his record, the people he's fought, Ilia Topuria, Kama Worthy, Renato Moicano, Francisco Trinaldo. Like, he's fought 4 pretty good fighters in the UFC to start out. So I'll cut him some slack. The UFC is giving him a little bit of hope. And last thing I'll say is he has a 6-inch reach advantage with a 2-inch height advantage. And he's probably going to have a little bit of the weight advantage come fight day because he is such a bigger man. So I'm leaning Jai Herbert here. But Kyle Nelson at plus 225, I mean, I'd rather just go Kyle Nelson by knockout, maybe even Nelson by a knockout round 1, because I think that's probably, if he sleeps him, it might be a round 1. But that's how I'm feeling. Do you have any thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I watched that fight with Ilya over again, bro, and I shit you not, I don't know if I've ever seen a worse knockout than that. Like, his eyes were so far rolled back in his head. I think they did a 360 and came back up the other way. Like, that man got slept so hard. That was only 4 months ago. But with that being said, he's better everywhere. He's had a better. He's got better length. He's got better strength. I think he's way taller. He has very clean, crisp strikes. Seems like when he gets caught, it's normally later in the fight. He normally has a good, solid first round, and then he gets caught later in the fight. Maybe when he gets lazy, maybe a little tired. He should win by KO, but that knockout, he got hit right on the button. Don't get me wrong, but that he folded over like a lawn chair. That was scary. I would probably take a year off if that was me, but the UFC probably didn't give him that option. So I'm still going to ride him. I'm going to have him in a parlay, I think. But I'm kind of attacking this card as kind of a parlay card because there's so many heavy favorites. I'll have a couple dog shots, and I won't parlay them or whatever, but maybe Leonardo just slightly. But yeah, I can't lay any good money on either of these fighters. I could see why someone would lay money on Kyle Nelson. I don't think he's awful. He's live definitely he's definitely live the whole fight to win, especially with Herbert. So yeah, I'm going to lean Herbert, but I'm not very confident. I like that he's, the hometown guy, Kyle Nelson. Also, I think I heard James Lynch talking about it, and he was kind of saying how the UFC kind of made him to take this fight, and they didn't really give him an option. He was either he took this fight or he's probably going to get cut. And so that doesn't sound good to me. Sounds like he's kind of set up to lose. I think they like Herbert. They think he's the black country banger for a reason. So yeah, I'm definitely going to lean him. But man, that knockout was scary. I wouldn't trust his chin against any good puncher. But I think he's set up to win in this fight.
Yeah, I agree. I will say though, I think Kyle Nelson has the ground advantage.
Okay. Yeah. No, you're right. You're probably right with that. He probably does have a little bit of a wrestling and grappling. I don't think Herbert's ran into that. Has a big glaring weakness there.
No, he doesn't. But I don't think he's also going to implement that game plan. So I think these guys are going to stand and bang. I mean, I think when you have this crowd involved, this is the real first English fighter who's fighting, right? Yeah, because Dalby's from Danish. Is Danish, yeah. and Bohm is from Germany. He's so this Danish. He's from Danish. He is Danish. But Jai Herbert is the first English guy fighting on the card, and the crowd's going to get hyped up for him, I think, and it's going to be a big one. I think Kyle Nelson's kind of also going to feed off that energy, and so I think Jai Herbert can get it done. But speaking of guys, as you said, are getting sent to set up to lose, at least in my opinion, I think we have that here in our next fight. We have Mokaev versus Charles Johnson. All right. Let's break down the tail of the tape. Mokaev, 21. Johnson, 31. Mokaev will be the shorter man. He's 2 inches shorter, and he'll have a point or a half-inch reach disadvantage. Charles Johnson is, not going to say he's old. He's 31 years old. He's right in the middle of his prime. He's been fighting the LFA past couple months, years, I guess. Yeah, for Bernard Royval. I watched that fight. I didn't realize that was 3 years ago when I watched that fight. That's
almost
crazy.
4. Damn.
Yeah, I thought that was like 2 years ago when I was watching it. I didn't look at the time at all. But I don't know. When I look at this fight, I think this is similar to the last one. I think the UFC is sending Charles Johnson out to the UK to get finished. I know a lot of people are on the over 2.5 or on the fight doesn't go. Our fight goes to decision in this fight. I don't know if I see it. I think that Mokaev, they've been out here, they're talking shit on Twitter back and forth. You have Charles Johnson, who's a boxer. He's going to come out. He's going to want to throw punches. He's going to want to bang. And I think Mokaev is going to take his ass down. And I watched a couple of Charles Johnson's fights, and guys get on his back. And he gets up, but I don't know if you're going to be able to get up when Mokaev is on your back. But if Mokaev gets on your back, it might be cookies. Might be have a good night. And so there's that. I just think Mokaev's better all around. This is just another setup fight for this kid. He's 21 years old. The UFC is trying to get him just slightly better competition. It's an intro for Charles Johnson to the UFC. It's kind of a fucked up way to introduce you, but they're like, hey, you come on this big card. You've trained with this kid before in Thailand, so you kind of know him. You guys going to know each other, so why not? But I think it's a big trend on this card. There's a lot of setup fights, and this is another one of those setup fights. How are you leaning? What do you think?
I mean, I think anybody with that has seen Mokaev and seen Johnson, Mokaev is definitely should be the favorite. I mean, he's the most hyped up prospect I think we have really ran into since we started following the sport. I was hearing about his name, I think 10 months before his debut or something like that. And then I was like, you know what? Cody Durden's tough motherfucker. I think I'm going to ride him. I'm going to the line's crazy. I think it was even bigger than this line is. And he finished him in a minute. I was just my jaw dropped. I was so surprised. Charles Johnson, though, absolute stud. Has never been finished. But like you said, it's hard to believe Muhammad Mokaev losing this fight. He's good. I mean, he's not the best striker. He throws mostly leg kicks. He's not the best boxing, striking. So I think Johnson will definitely have that type of advantage. So I definitely understand. I know I've seen some people out there making the Johnson by decision or Johnson just straight up midline. But I think there might be some value. It might be closer than what people think. But I definitely think Mokaev is the side here. I'm not going to parlay him heavy. I still feel like there's a lot I need to learn from his game and his fighting style. And, he's way more experienced than 6-0 says because he's got 20 plus amateur fights. But yeah, with that being said, Mokaev's the side. Would I put my bank on it? No. But do I think he's set up to win and he should win? Yes. So.
Yeah, just to follow up on a couple of things. He's had 22 amateur fights, 22-0. So there's that. He's
never tasted defeat, no matter what.
Yeah, never tasted defeat. I mean, pretty much all of his fights, not all, but I mean, I would say about 50-50 finishes to unanimous. I'm talking, he doesn't go to splits. Every single one, if it's a decision, it's unanimous. So I think, whether it finishes I think it does or it doesn't, he should decisively win this matchup. I have him parlayed. I have him parlayed with two people this later on in this card. I just think that I think there's 3 absolute locks on this card, and Mokaev is one of them. So we can move on. we can move on to that next fight because there's not much more for me to say. I mean, Mokaev is one of the biggest favorites on the card, if not the biggest. And
it's actually one thing I want to add that's interesting is that his line has not moved in like 2 weeks, which is a little surprising considering he's supposedly.
I will say I was on here 2 days ago, and he was down to minus 460.
Oh, wow.
And I almost put like just like a straight money line bet on him at minus 460. But then I was like, I can't bet minus 460 straight up. Like I've
a little too juiced.
Yeah, I was like, it's a little too much. So I didn't. But that's kind of what I was feeling. But all right, y'all, we're moving on to the next fight. If you're enjoying yourself, please drop a like. Please drop a subscribe. It is much, much appreciated. We have a bout in the featherweight division. We got Makwan Amirkhani against Jonathan Pearce. I don't really like his nickname, JSP. I think he should be a little more original and find something that fits a little better, but that's beside the point here. Tail of the tape. We have Amirkhani fighting out of Finland. He's 33 years old. We got Jonathan Pearce fighting out of the USA. He's 30. JSP will be the bigger man. He will have a half-inch reach disadvantage. This fight's quite interesting. I'm going to let you give your thoughts first, then I'll follow up with it.
Okay. First thing I do is click on Amirkhani's name, like right up there. Click on his name.
Yeah, let me click it.
Legend. All right, that man's winning this fight. He's winning by submission. He's lost a tough competition, bro. Realistically, I don't know how he lost Camilla Kirk. That's kind of a bad luck. But outside of that, he's beaten Mike Grundy in the past 2 years. It's not pretty, but you know what? I think after his last fight, I was on him in submission. He actually won me a decent amount of money. It sounded like from what the whole broadcast standpoint and everything that I heard, he kind of just went back to his roots, his wrestling roots, and he just really grinded in the gym. He wasn't going out. He was not the guy that we just saw in that photo. He was really focusing on his game. And I think he's taking his career a lot more seriously now. Now that he's, almost 34, getting towards the end potentially. I think Jonathan Pearce gives up his neck too much. I think Jonathan Pearce is hittable. I think Jonathan Pearce puts himself in dangerous positions. I think Makwan can take advantage of that, potentially even in the first round and submit him. But the longer this fight goes, Jonathan Pearce probably gets a little bit better and stronger. His most recent fight to Christian Rodriguez, I was on him there pretty hard. There's definitely some spots where I was like, oh shit, this is not looking good. But Christian Rodriguez is a stud, even though he is a weight class lower. So I'm gonna ride Makwan and Amirkhani. I can see people's point of view of Jonathan Pearce. Maybe he breaks Makwan later in rounds or something like that. But I think Makwan is going to probably get his neck pretty early, or a position of submission attack, or like a spot where he can get a submission and get him out of there. So I'm going to be riding him again. I'm in the Makwan business once again. I think last time he fought was Grundy. And that was kind of a sad sight to see because Mike Grundy had his dad there and all that sad stuff, and ended up being submitted in the first round. Anyways, I digress. Got Makwan, and I'm going to rerun him. Not heavy, but I'll probably have a midline bet on him. Haven't made it yet.
For sure. Yeah, I am also on the Makwan side. I have a money line bet, 1 unit plus 190 on him. And then I also have a little over a half unit to win 2 units for him by sub, plus 375. So honestly, I think JSP, if this does get past the 7.5 minute mark, we'll probably see JSP take over. But I don't know. I think that if he's really made a change, that is he being Makwan, I think that we could see maybe he does have better cardio. And it's tough to say because in this Lerone Murphy fight,
he was winning. He won the first round.
Yeah, exactly. He won the first round and then he got caught with a flying knee. So it's like we don't really know what would have happened. And then the Mike Grundy fight, I mean, he got an anaconda choke. So it was so quick. Like, who knows what really happened? But yeah, I don't know. I'm leaning him. I think he's going to have the submission threat. I think he's more dangerous in that aspect. I think Jonathan Pearce, it sounds funny, but like he has a really long neck.
He does.
Like, I don't know if I can find a picture of him, but I'm not even that serious. But he has a really long neck. And if you guys look it up, like his neck is abnormally long, and he is a wrestler. And if he's going to shoot for takedowns, I mean, that neck is going to be there. And so I don't see why Makwan can't get it. So that's my side. I'm siding with him. I might play like a JSP, like round 3, or maybe like round 2, round 3, or maybe round 3 by decision, something like that. Just to kind of, because you can get probably big plus money on a round 2 Jonathan Pearce, a round 3 Jonathan Pearce. I don't think he finishes Amirkhani.
I like it.
Round 1, but yeah, that's how I'm going. So we're both on Amirkhani's side, but we'll bounce down to the next fight. Keep it moving. We got Nathaniel Wood against Charles Rosa. This fight right here, it should be interesting. It's a featherweight bout. Right? Yeah, featherweight bout. Charles Rosa is dropping down in weight, I'm pretty sure. So that'll be a little interesting to see how.
No, other way around. Oh, wait. Nathaniel Wood's coming up from 135. I know that.
Yeah,
I think he's also going.
Yeah, maybe he's going down, or maybe
he's been fighting at 145. Actually, he's fought Damon Jackson, TJ Brown, Justin James.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe his last fight was just short notice.
Yeah,
but so this fight's at 145. Taylor Tate Rosa will be, what is that? Can't do math. 7 years older. He'll have a 3-inch height advantage, and they'll be the same. They'll have the same reach. It's kind of funny. Nathaniel Wood is part of Great Britain top team, and then Charles Rosa is part of American top team, which is pretty much the same organization, just Great Britain, American. What we really have here is Nathaniel Wood he's a good fighter. I don't know. I watched the tape on him. I wasn't very familiar with him, and I watched the tape and I was not overly impressed. Not minus 490 impressed, but again, he's an English fighter. We didn't get to see him last card because his opponent pulled out. So maybe he has massive crowd, massive fans behind him, and it's going to be crazy and jumping up in there. But minus 575 on Bovada, that's just pretty insane. I mean, Charles Rosa, we just saw what Jourdain did to it's not Charles. Who finished Jourdain?
That was freaking Julian Rosa. Julian Rosa.
Yeah. It was I watched one of his fights. It was what fight was it? I'm really blanking right now, but I'm sorry, people.
Was it the Damon Jackson?
It might have been the Damon Jackson fight. Yeah, like one of his fights, he put up like a really like strong effort, and that's not to say he's going to be able to do the same thing. I'm going to lean Wood. I think if you're going to do this, you're going to bet on this. It has to be a parlay piece. You can't really play this straight up. Rosa's dangerous on the feet, dangerous on the ground, but he's 35 years old. We know what we're getting from him. He's on a 2-fight losing streak, and like I've been saying for the past couple fighters, he's getting shipped across the water so that he can get knocked out or finished and get the crowd hyped up and give one of these British fighters some hype. What do you think? You on the same side?
Yeah. I feel like you have to be. Like Charles Rosa's, honestly, like I think I rode him against TJ Brown because I think, like you said, I'm pretty sure the Damon Jackson fight was a little closer than somebody of Damon Jackson's level should have made it. But the thing is with him is that he doesn't get finished easily. He's a good jiu-jitsu guy, but he accepts the back too much. He accepts being on his back too much. If Daniel Wood's going to be the better striker, he's not going to knock him out, I don't think. Like, the guy's super durable. He lost to John Dodson. John Dodson from 2 or 3 years ago is quite a stud. Like, he was pretty much fighting the best guys around and losing to the best guys, beating the guys that were, not quite on that level yet. And that was the last time he got finished. And then he lost to Casey Canny. So, yeah, I definitely lean him. He'll also be in one of my parlays. He should win by decision. If you're looking to get a cheaper price on him, I'd go by decision. I think that's minus 165 currently. I don't think Charles Rosa is an easy out. I don't think this guy moving up a weight class against a guy that's bigger than him is going to finish him, especially not going to sub him. So, yeah, I'm going I'd take the fight goes over 2.5, decision, and I would take Wood by decision. But Rosa could definitely win a round. So, yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, it's. I think it's going to be a little bit closer than what it looks like, but if it goes to the scorecards, Wood should have it in the bag. So we'll move on to the next fight. We got one more fight or two more fights on the prelim, and then we'll be on that main card. Marc Diakese versus Damir Hadzovic. This fight is going to be a good one. Mr. Bone Crusher against the Bosnian Bomber. 2 fire nicknames, if you ask me. Damir Hadzovic is going to be 6 years older. He's going to be 1 inch shorter and have a 3-inch reach disadvantage. So when you come to break down the tape, I mean, Diakese definitely has that on his side. They're 3-2, both in their last 5 fights. Strength of schedule wise, they've both fought pretty decent fighters. Just to show you, Lando Venata, Fazeev. Obviously, we just saw him sleep RDA a couple weeks ago. Rafael Alves, and then Slava Claus. So I definitely think I would say level of competition is pretty even. I mean, Moicano's good. Giagos is solid. Puyo Reyes is decent. He's not that bad. I mean, he's out the UFC now, but he was in garbage. And then Yancy Medeiros was so-so, but that wasn't fantastic. But Diakese definitely should win this fight, in my opinion. That's really just straight how I feel. Hadzovic's takedown defense is like 34%. I mean, I watched him fight Christos Giagos, and oh my goodness, like I feel like I could have a better takedown defense. Like, it was just atrocious. Like, every single time he just grabbed a leg, he just fell over. Every time Giagos grabbed the leg, just fell. And it's just like, if Diakese grabs his legs, he's going to get on top of him, and he can ride him out 15 minutes, and it's just going to be an easy just walk in the park. And I actually have a bet on this fight. I think I have the over 2.5, 1.3 units to win 1 at minus 130. So it's just another little bet here. I think that we're going to be able to get it's going to be an easy win for Diakese. And Hadzovic is tough. So I think that it should last at least 2.5 rounds. What side are you on here, my brother?
Yeah, I think one of the first things I told you when I was saying this card is like, how does Diakese lose this fight? Like, especially after what he showed his wrestling and stuff after that last fight that we saw him in. Mm-hmm. So, the prop isn't out yet on Bovada, which is what I use, but I think a submission here might be very live. I think he could finish him either by knockout or sub, but I'm leaning towards sub. I think he's one of the better locks of the night, along with, a couple of the schnauzers we see later. And, it's pretty simple. Yeah, I mean, I don't see how he loses this fight. Yancy Medeiros, which is the last fight for Damir, he's not a bum. Don't get me wrong. But the guys that have beaten Diakese recently, and he was really motivated that last fight. He was not losing that fight no matter what, it seemed like. But Alves, Fazeev, and like you said, two really high level guys. I'm definitely going to be on Diakese. He'll definitely be in a parlay. You know, I'm naming a lot of parlay pieces. So, you know, I'm not putting them all together, but there'll be sprinkles of variations of them around. And he'll definitely be a part. I think he'll be one of the more prominent names in it, just especially because I'm like, especially when you have like, I mean, I know Mokaev is like the prospect of like the next generation, but like, I think that Marc Diakese, he has way more past the victory, or maybe not, but I think he's just way more better all around. And we've seen more evidence of it in both of their games. So I'm definitely there with you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. I think in terms of opponents, like Diakese just has the easier matchup in this fight. I mean, it's like you want to lay 360 on him against Hadzovic or 550 against Charles Johnson. Like, it's just easier to lay that on Diakese because the matchup is pretty trash for that. But we will continue, move to this next fight. We have the final fight on the prelims. We have Ludovic Klein versus Mason Jones. This fight right here is going to be fun. I think this is going to be a good fight. I think there's a reason why the UFC put this on to be the prelim final, the prelim finale, the final fight of the prelim, however you want to call it. So to break down the fight, both fighters are 27 years old. Ludovic Klein will have a 3-inch height disadvantage, and they will both have the same reach. So Mason Jones, I think he's just going to come forward in this fight. He doesn't really block punches. He blocks them with his face. When he fought David Onama, I thought David Onama put up a great fight on short notice. I think if he probably had 2 more weeks to prepare, he probably beat Mason Jones. I think the problem with Ludovic Klein here is he just does not have the cardio to hang with Mason Jones, and I think Mason Jones has that cardio, and he weaponizes his cardio, and that's really the big difference here. Is Mason Jones has the cardio and he'll weaponize it. He also can go to the ground and really, really use that ground game. Oh, excuse me. I was talking too fast. I really used his ground game. And so I think when it comes down to it, Klein has a puncher's chance in this first round. But after the first round, it's all Mason Jones. I think Mason Jones probably gets a finish here. If I'm really thinking about it, I'm not sure if it's going to be a TKO or a sub, but I mean, Mason Jones inside the distance might be a solid play. I don't even know if they have that line out yet. I've been looking, they don't have it out. So whenever they get that Mason Jones inside the distance, it's probably going to be close to probably plus 100, plus 115. I doubt they're going to give us decent plus money on that. So I'm leaning Mason Jones in this fight. It's no big surprise, just another heavy favorite. He might be a decent parlay piece, but this is one of the guys that I'm leaning toward not parlaying at all, just because this fight is short notice for Ludovic Klein, meaning it is short notice for Mason Jones in terms of new opponent, different matchup. We don't really know what we're getting here, so I'm staying away from this fight from a betting perspective, most likely, unless Mason Jones inside the distance is a decent number. But I don't know if plus 100 is juicy enough. What do you think, though? Are you liking Mason Jones?
Yeah, I feel like he's pretty safe, unless he gets kicked by a leg kick from hell. And I still think I've seen this guy eat crazy shots. I know that one fight against Onama, like you said, that's what kind of sold me on Onama before even really knowing anything about him. I was like, this guy's a dog. I know Mason Jones is also a dog, but I think that Mason Jones is not that skilled defensively. I don't think he's going to get caught with the crazy head kick, and if he does, he probably could walk through it. So that's why I'm like, how does he lose this fight? He throws more volume. He's got a better chin. His fight IQ is definitely not smarter than, most fighters. I don't think he's the smartest fighter. Maybe it's because he's young. But I definitely think he's going to win. Like you said, inside the distance, plus 110. No, thank you. Wins by 3-round decision, plus 175, maybe. He doesn't hit that hard. I don't know. I'll like a lot of these guys, I probably will have a little piece of him and something, but nothing currently.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, plus 110's not awful, but it's just a matter of more like, am I really sure he's going to get that finish? Only reason why I would
It would
say
be by sub, I think, and they haven't shown the sub prop yet.
Yeah, they haven't. Only reason why I would say that is what has Ludovic Klein been doing lately? Like, was he on vacation when he took this fight? Has he been training? Like, if he hasn't been training or anything, I think he's fucked. I think he will get finished. But I'm curious to see like what he's been up to. Like,
He got rocked a few times against Devontae Smith too. He's never lost, but he's only lost by a rear naked choke though, like in 2017 against Aiden Lee, who I'm pretty sure is a solid fighter.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold off on betting that for now, and I'm gonna look more into what Klein's been doing. Maybe look at his Instagram and see if he's been on vacation or whatnot. Like, I mean, Mokaev literally was on the beach.
I'm just kidding. Aiden Lee's not a solid fighter. He's mediocre at best. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Is he ready for this?
Exactly. Is he ready for this absolute dog fight that he
ready to get booed by the hometown favorite, pretty much, because that guy's from Wales.
Exactly. Sorry about that. Yeah. All right. So we're both on Mason Jones here. Another big favorite, potential parlay piece if you guys like him a lot. So we're moving on to the main card. We have some pretty exciting fights coming up, some pretty good breakdowns. So let's jump right into it. We have Paul Craig against Volkan Oezdemir. This fight right here, again, two fire nicknames, the Bear Jew versus No Time. And just give you a little context, Volkan Oezdemir calls himself No Time because if you want to go back and watch some of his fights when he knocks people out, he says, I have no time. So, I mean, hey, you got no time. So when you look at this, when you look at the breakdown, I mean, you look at their past couple fights, you see green for Paul Craig, you see a lot of red for Oezdemir, and I think that is slightly misleading, if you will. Paul Craig pretty much in all of these fights was losing, was getting beat up, and got finishes. And even in his fight against Ankalaev, he got demolished for 14 minutes and 59 seconds and then got a submission at literally the last second of the fight. And so I think when you really break down these two fighters and you really break down the tape of these guys, Paul Craig should have absolutely no chance in this fight. Volkan Oezdemir should have a significant striking advantage. It's not even close. Paul Craig's takedowns aren't really a thing. He's usually getting people on the ground because he's getting hurt. And so he's not really actively getting people to the ground. I think Oezdemir is smart enough to know to not go into any guard of Paul Craig, even if he absolutely blasts him. He's just going to be like, you need to stand up. And if you can't stand up, we're going to see what we saw with the ref did, kind of how Herbert Burns, when he just got waved off. It was just like, nope, you can't fight. Like, I don't think that's what's going to happen, but I think that's what Volkan Oezdemir is going to do. Because if any fighter has a decent fight IQ, which he does, that's what you're going to do against Paul Craig. And Nikita Krylov, which we're about to see later, does not have a high fight IQ. So I'm not really sure how I feel about this fight entirely, but I'm on Volkan's side. I've been really close to pulling a money line bet on him. Kind of just waiting for some of my track bets to fall through tomorrow. So I don't feel like dropping any more cash on a bankroll management. So just trying to keep it chill for right now. But I like Volkan here. I think he gets the finish. What do you think? I might have a couple more thoughts after hearing you, but what do you think about this one?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the smart money bet on it is probably Oezdemir winning this fight more times than not. With that being said, I'm definitely not gonna have any bets on him. I'm gonna be on the Bear Jew, not heavily, maybe like half a unit on a sub or like a first round sub or maybe even a second round sub. Oezdemir's been gun shy in his last few fights. He shouldn't be in this fight. He should have all the confidence in the world to just walk this guy down and knock him out. But yeah, like he should knock Paul Craig out, but like so should Nikita Krylov. So it's like I don't know. I'm gonna lean. If you put a gun to my head, I'm gonna say Paul Craig. I'm gonna ride the wave. He's gonna pull some shit out of his ass. You know what I mean? Pull like a freaking scissor or whatever it's called, like the thing that Bryce Mitchell pulled out, a slicer, a calf slicer or some shit.
The twister.
Or the twister or calf slicer, some crazy, like just when like Oezdemir slipped on the ground. I don't know. I don't know how they keep putting Paul Craig at plus odds, but I'm going to take him some way or the other. I mean, his sub prop is plus 185. Oezdemir by KO is only plus 130 right now. Like, I'd rather take the sub guy at a little higher odds just because he's been on a way higher streak than Oezdemir. Like, Oezdemir's 2-5 in his last 7 fights. I don't know. Yeah. He's fought killers, so I think maybe his confidence might be lost, but he should have all the confidence in the world as long as he doesn't jump on the ground with Paul Craig when he goes to guard, when he's getting hit hard. So that's how I feel. Lean Craig, but Oezdemir should win. Craig, from a betting perspective, Oezdemir should win, though.
Yeah, and I definitely hear you. I mean, I think Krylov did have him hurt, and I think that's kind of was the thing is Krylov had him hurt, but instead of making him get back up, he just kind of went down to his guard, and I think that's the difference here is Oezdemir is not going to go in his guard. I mean, Oezdemir was tagging up Jiri. He was tagging up Ankalaev. I think if he starts tagging up Paul Craig, like Paul Craig is going to be. I think Paul Craig's luck is done.
To your point, I feel that. And to your point, Nikita Krylov has gotten himself choked out many times before. Yeah. Oezdemir, maybe once or twice a long time ago. So I definitely get what you're saying. I'm trying to I'm riding the momentum wave, but all momentum dies at some point.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, I don't blame anyone riding the wave. I mean, I think if you're gonna bet Paul Craig, you literally just bet the sub line and leave it at that. But
yeah,
a submission line at plus 185 is just not.
I never hit those. Yeah, I just avoid them.
I don't like those lines when the other guy has like zero interest in grappling, like none whatsoever, and so that's kind of what I want to stay away from. But I mean, I can't blame people for betting on Paul Craig by sub, but he's been pulling it out the bag of the past couple fights, so why not again? But let's jump to the next fight here. Who do we have next up? We got Meatball Molly against Hannah Goldy. This fight should be an absolute banger from the crowd standpoint. Shit should be really rocking from here. Meatball Molly, 2 years older. She's going to be, they'll have the same height, and Molly will have a 1-inch reach advantage. This fight, I think it's pretty straightforward. I'm not even going to get into anything crazy. I'm just going to break it down real quick and simple for everyone. Molly McCann is minus 500. Molly McCann could easily be minus 1,000, and I'd probably be like, okay. Like, the UFC loves Molly McCann. The UK loves Molly McCann. UFC fans in London love Molly McCann. UFC fans in the US love Molly McCann. Molly McCann is winning on Saturday. 150%. Hannah Goldy is flying across the country, across the world, and she is going to go fight Molly McCann in a hostile environment. I'm pretty sure she has an OnlyFans account as well.
Yes.
So that fade has been pretty much in full effect already this year. So why not do it again? But that's beside the point because I don't really care about stuff like that. I don't believe if you have an OnlyFans account, that doesn't mean that you can't be in the gym working your ass off. Like, motherfuckers do all kind of shit on Instagram all the time and still work their ass off. Like, it's not a big deal. But that's just a stupid rant. But look, Molly McCann, she's not losing this fight. The only way Hannah Goldy wins this fight is she finishes Molly McCann. And we look at Hannah Goldy. She had an armbar a while ago. Molly McCann's not going to get armbarred. She's not going to put herself in that situation. Unanimous decision, and you go on with her record to pretty much, I'm pretty sure, decisions. I didn't even watch that far in her career. She had one TKO win, but she had a win against Jillian Robertson. Kind of funny, but she's not winning this fight. This is just a setup fight for Molly. It is what it is. Sorry, Hannah Goldy. But Molly McCann is the second leg in my 3-leg parlay that I have with Muhammad Mokaev. Like I said, there's 3 locks on this card, just from a everything standpoint, and so she's number 2. What you think, man?
Yeah, no, you pretty much summed it up. Pretty much anything I could really add. I don't have much. She's more aggressive. She'll have better striking and better boxing. Her ground game isn't terrible. It's definitely been improving too. I don't think Hannah might be able to take her down once or twice just by like pure strength. But do I think she's going to be able to arm bar? No way. So yeah, I think it's tough to say whether Molly, she should probably go to decision just because Goldy's never been finished before, but I wouldn't throw it out of the table that she just gets hit with a flurry and gets finished by TKO. So, like you said, Molly McCann all the way. Schnauzers, they've got very favorable matchups. They should both win.
Yep, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And not only, just to add on kind of with the finish, if you remember I watched back that Carolina fight, and if you remember the Luana-Carolina fight, she put her through like a crazy flurry in that first round.
She was styling on her.
And the reason why she couldn't finish her was because Luana-Carolina was so tall. She couldn't reach her head. Literally, that was why. And Hannah Goldy's little. Not little, but they're the same size. So they'll be punching face level with each other.
Carolina's at least 5'6", I want to say. Yeah,
she was a couple inches taller and longer, so it was just a lot different. This matchup right here, she starts teeing off. I think she can hurt her, potentially finish her. So,
totally.
I like it. Let's move on to the next fight here. We have 4 more fights to break down. If you guys are enjoying the content, please drop a like, drop a subscribe, comment on the video, anything, constructive criticism, likes, dislikes, whatever it is. It's all much, much appreciated. So we have Nikita Krylov. We just talked about him a little bit against Alexander Gustafsson. This fight is super duper interesting to me. Tail of the tape goes Gustafsson, 5 years older. He fought a heavyweight in his last fight against Verdum. So that is just not a great look from if you're trying to back him. But hey, he's 6'5". So he's going to be 2 inches taller, and he's going to have a 1.5-inch reach advantage. This fight is, like I just said, super duper interesting. At one point, Alexander Gustafsson was one of the best fighters in the world, fighting John Jones. People think that he beat John Jones. So there's that. If we get this level of fighter, he should absolutely walk through Nikita Krylov. It's just we don't know what kind of fighter we're going to get. He's been away for almost 2 years. He fought at heavyweight last time. So what are we truly getting? I placed a bet on this fight. I don't know what we're getting on this fight, but I bet on Gustafsson. I placed a let me see. What did I do? I put 1.2 units on Gustafsson at plus 157. So it could have probably got a slightly better line if I waited, but I don't know. We just talked about Krylov's fight IQ. I don't think he's very good, truthfully. He's a decent striker. He has some power, so that is definitely in the cards. But I think Gustafsson is just all around a better fighter. Like Krylov at his absolute best will never like sniff how good Gustafsson was. And so you took like 80% of Gustafsson. Is that still better than Krylov, you know? So that's kind of why I took that bet. He's been training with Hamzat too. So maybe he's, been really putting in that work. So I like Gustafsson. I'm rocking with him on this play. Maybe it's a nostalgia play and I'm just going to get smacked for it, but I'll take the risk on it. It's plus money. It's not like I'm laying minus 200, plus 154, plus 157, whatever I just said. So I'm going to take Gustafsson here. What side you on, man?
Yeah, I know. I think it's definitely dogger pass. We mentioned his bad IQ for Krylov already. Gus, though, is he still wanting this? Or was this his last paycheck that he's getting from the UFC? Hard to tell. I'm assuming he's probably got a little run in him, especially because he's going all the way back down to 205. If he just wanted to get paid again, maybe he'd just fight a heavyweight and not worry about cutting weight. But with that being said, dude, Verdun is washed, man. Like, I don't know. Anyways, dogger pass for me. Gustafsson's been the better fighter. He's got the better career. Fought last two losses at this weight class were to John Jones and Anthony Smith. Could Krylov maybe go for the grappling advantage? I feel like he would probably be a little scared after that last fight against Paul Craig, but yeah. It seems like the only way Krylov gets finished is by sub too, so it's a tough fight to call, man. If you're feeling like you don't want to bet anything and you're just a crazy man, Alexander Gustafsson by sub. But outside of that, I'm staying away. I'm not even going to play that. But I think that would be funny, and I would not be surprised if that happened.
What's the line on that?
Plus 1,400.
It's not bad. I mean, how many sub wins does he have? I'll check later. Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's not.
He has none. Or no, he has one. He has two early in his UFC career, and they're rear naked chokes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's highly unlikely, but you never know, man. You really never know.
Hey, I never thought Yuri's going to get a 7 round 5 against Glover Teixeira, but.
Exactly. You never know. Especially that's why we love this sport. You just never know about this sport. So, we're both on Gusto here. Just kind of fading Krylov. And I mean, me personally, like I said, I think if we have 80% of Gusto, I think that might still be better than Krylov. So,
yeah,
we'll move on here. We have the third to last fight. We're bringing up the big boys now. We got Paddy Pimblett, Paddy the Batty against Jordan the Monkey King Leavitt. This fight right here is going to be a lot of fun. Both 27-year-olds, 5'10 versus 5'9. Paddy's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage. Both fighters are 4-1 in their last 5 fights. They both haven't really fought anybody, like if I'm going to be honest with you. So when it comes to straight the schedule and straight the competition, like it's just a wash. They both really haven't fought nobody too good. The big difference here in this fight for me is going to be 2 things. Paddy the Batty striking, it should be levels ahead of Jordan Leavitt. Leavitt just really doesn't have good striking. And then second, this is Leavitt's first fight with fans. And I think that's going to be a drastic change for him. I mean, he's fighting with fans for the first time, and it's at the O2 Arena. Paddy the Batty's going to come out to some song that's going to have people hyped. He came out to that, that part, like the, what was that? Party X? Yeah, what was that?
I forget.
What you're talking about. Yeah, he came out to that song from that movie. And
Wait,
so
is it the pursuit? This wasn't the pursuit of happiness one, was it?
no, it was the intro to the movie.
Oh,
or to the
okay.
party when they had the movie. But he came out to that, and so basically just came out, shit went crazy, and I think that it's just going to be overwhelming for Leavitt. I think he's going to come out. I really think he's going to shoot a takedown, and we might see a knee to the dome. We might see an uppercut. We might see him caught in a guillotine. But I think he's going to get finished probably in this first round. I'm going Paddy Pimblett here, first round finish. Let's continue racking it in. I know I've seen contrarian people out there saying this is going to go the distance. Look, man, I don't know how else to tell people. Like, I know people want to, like, hit this plus money, but there are certain cards that are just chalk. And it just is. Like, I'm sorry. Like, the value boys, this is just not the card for you. It's just not. Either just go home and sit on the couch, just watch, enjoy, or don't bet. I don't know. You're going to lose money. Because people are going to go, like I said, they're going to bet on that Umar. Not Umar. What the fuck? I'm so dumb. The Mokaev
Johnson guy, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to find that to go the distance. That fight's going to get finished. They're going to find this to go the distance. It's going to get finished. And I'm a fan of contrarian plays, but you have to know when to play those. And I just don't think a London card with London fans, with London fighters, like, it's just literally every single box is being ticked. And then people are just like, but it's still going to go to the decision. It's like, but why? Like, what makes you think these fights are going to? You think Paddy Pimblett is going to come out on sky high level 1,000 and be like, I just don't see it. It's not like he's fighting top level competition. He's fighting Jordan Leavitt. You know what I mean? Like, this is not Hamzat Chimaev coming out and fighting Gilbert Burns. Like, when we all thought, like, in hindsight, I feel dumb thinking that he was just going to steamroll Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns is a tough motherfucker.
Facts.
Jordan Leavitt, like, Jordan, who the fuck is Jordan Leavitt? Like, on no disrespect, he'll beat the shit out of me. But who is Jordan Leavitt in terms of the UFC? So that's what I mean. Like, I just think it's Paddy Paddy. It's Paddy. Like, I talked too long on this. But,
Paddy the Baddy.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, I don't see how he loses this fight. I think he probably knocks him out. That would be my highest likely scenario. Jordan Leavitt, not good at defense, not good at attack on striking, not a good wrestler. Definitely got solid jiu-jitsu. But I think Paddy Pimblett's right there with him in the jiu-jitsu department. I don't think he's getting subbed by him. This man, Paddy the Baddy, said he is going to knock him out and then physically teabag his body like Modern Warfare 2. Kind of take his word for it. I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't know, like, where the striking defense from Leavitt is unless he becomes, like, you know, like Merab Devishvili and starts popping 15 takedown attempts in, like, 2 rounds. Like, I just don't see that happening. I think Paddy the Baddy's set up to win here. I'm surprised he's only 275. If Molly McCann's minus 500, I don't know. I guess Hannah Goldy's got less fights and, you know, less, you know, we've seen less from her and she's fought worse competition, but still I don't see how Paddy Baddy loses. Like, I really don't. Like, and
I think it's people just hating. I think it's people are hating on Paddy the Baddy, and I think it's people who, like me, I'm not gonna lie, me initially I was like, oh, I'm gonna bet on Jordan Leavitt because Jordan Leavitt.
I did too.
Yeah. And then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, don't be a fucking idiot, Anthony. Like,
this guy hits hard. He's bigger, stronger, faster, with equal jiu-jitsu.
More athletic.
Yeah.
Like, exactly. The ground game is equal, and then Paddy the Baddy, if his striking's at 80%.
Way more experience, too, for Paddy. Sorry.
Literally, way more experience. I mean, it's levels ahead. Yeah. So I'm going Paddy the Baddy. Like you said, this is a setup fight. Yep. And Paddy the Baddy is the third leg in my parlay if nobody caught the gist of that one already. So we'll move on to the co-main event. We have Jack Hermanson against Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis taking another short notice fight. It's kind of what he's becoming known for. It's kind of like he's like the new cowboy, if you will. Or And I don't know if that's a good thing. But he's collecting money. He's getting paid. He's making money for his family. And, hey, I respect it. I can't hate him for that at all. So, tail of the tape, Hermansson will be 1 year younger. He will have a 2-inch height advantage and a 2.5-inch reach advantage. This fight is going to be fun. I have a pretty strong conviction on this. I'm leaning a pretty strong side. I'm going to let you take it first, and then I'll close it out.
So I know Jack Hermansson definitely probably has the higher level of competition, especially in his losses. But for me personally, I think this is Chris Curtis's fight to lose. I think he's the better boxer. I don't think Jack Hermansson has good wrestling. I think Chris Curtis has good wrestling defense. What I really see happening is Chris Curtis attacking that body and maybe getting him in the second or third round with the hook. I just really don't think Jack Hermansson's great anywhere. I think he's a little hittable. I think he's definitely got a durable chin. He's a tough motherfucker. I think he knocks out a lot of the guys that are trying to make it into that top 10. But I'm going to ride Chris Curtis. One thing, though, is I'm not going to be on him heavy. I don't even think I'm going to play him straight up. I heard someone say that he has like a wrist injury, or like he had a wrist injury going to his last fight, and then he's taking this fight like a month later. I don't know. I don't like that. So I'm going to definitely lead Chris Curtis. I'm not going to be on him heavy by any means, but I think he wins. And another thing I heard someone mention is he was in the corner for that Sean Strickland fight, and he was like yelling like combos to hit the guy with because he knew that they were open, that he could probably finish him if he hit him with a certain combo. And, Sean Strickland probably didn't listen. And that's why I think Chris Curtis is probably just going to be smarter when it comes to knowing how to attack and like adapting to to Jack's game plan. That's kind of what it comes down to for me. So yeah, definitely Chris Curtis. Would I be surprised if Jack Hermansson wins? No. I'd be a little disappointed that Jack Hermansson's the guy that ends the streak. But yeah, with that being said, Chris Curtis.
For sure. Yeah, I'm jumping off the Chris Curtis train here. I'm on the Jack Hermansson side. I have 2 units on Jack Hermansson at plus 100. I think that everything that people were afraid Rodolfo Vieira was going to do, I believe that Jack Hermansson will probably be able to implement that game. Not necessarily because I think he's a crazy good wrestler or because he's like insanely good on the ground or this excellent grappler. I think what it really comes down to is he can wrestle. Just kind of looking at his takedown stats, they're not fantastic. Only a 30% takedown percent, like 31% for exact, but he has 20% control time in his fights. So, I mean, if you talk about 20% of control time, if he can get this fight on the ground, I don't see why he can't control Chris Curtis. Again, Chris Curtis is going to be the smaller man by a pretty large margin. And what people really didn't, I felt like kind of ignored is in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like your takedowns aren't really a thing. Like you're not actively like taking people down. Whereas Hermansson, he's a wrestler. And so I think it's going to be a little bit different. I think taking this fight on short notice, flying across the country, being in a different time zone. And that's something I haven't really talked about at all. But when we're looking at all of these U.S. fighters flying over across the globe, they're fighting early morning, middle of the day, depending on where they live in the country. Like Chris Curtis, for instance, when he's out in the octagon, it's going to be about 1 or 2 o'clock probably Pacific time where he's normally from. So, I mean, fighting at that time is going to be a little bit different. Not to say that that's going to be a huge deal, but I'm citing Hermansson here. I really just think that the action man his time has kind of come to an end. it's going to be, I think this is just a tough matchup for him. And I think everything that Vieira was supposed to do, Hermansson will be able to do it. Maybe not submit him, but I think take him down, hold him down. Just make it ugly and not a striking match.
So I just want to state that Rodolfo Vieira tried to take down Chris Curtis 20 times and couldn't do it once.
Yeah.
Jack Hermansson tried to do 8 against Sean Strickland, couldn't do it once. I don't think these guys know how to take a guy down. I think he's going to be stuck striking with him. If he catches Curtis, wow, I'd be shocked. I mean, Chris Curtis is definitely hittable, but he doesn't seem to take the hard shots. So if he wins a striking matchup like that, because I don't think he's taking him down, I would be a career-changing performance for him. So
he won a scorecard against Sean Strickland, so.
But dude? We knew that was if that had unanimous decision written all over it.
Yeah, I'm just saying he did win a scorecard on that one,
and maybe he does in London. We'll see. But
he was able to take Vettori down twice.
It's hard for me to see where his advantage is at when Chris Curtis has fought better grapplers and takedown artists and has beaten them. You know what I mean? That's where I kind of get stuck at.
You think Vieira is a better takedown artist? Because I don't.
I mean, let's look at it.
The
only fight that he never had a takedown in the UFC was against Chris Curtis, and he failed 20 times. He went 20 times.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like I think that's the difference, but I also think Hermansson is a wrestler, not a BJJ guy, whereas Vieira is a BJJ guy and not a wrestler. And I think that's what the difference is.
All right, I get you. But I'm just saying, takedown accuracy maybe if Chris Curtis slips or maybe he hits him and makes him trip, but like Jack Hermansson's takedown accuracy is 30% without even fighting Chris Curtis yet. Guarantee you, if he takes 8 takedowns, it'll go down to like 25%.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a close fight. It's line close for a reason.
I think if he takes down Vettori, he's taking down Chris Curtis.
He also got struck by 40 shots against fucking Vettori and took him down twice.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he takes down Vettori, I think he's going to be able to take down Chris Curtis.
We'll see.
And I think Chris Curtis is also, I mean, he's a 170 guy, and he keeps taking 185 fights. Eventually, that's going to catch up to him as well. Yeah. So he can only fight up so much.
I also think Vettori definitely beats Chris Curtis. Every day
easily. He dog walked Chris Curtis, like no problem. But I'm just saying, I think Chris Curtis is him fighting at 170 or fighting at 185 is eventually going to catch up to him when he's a natural 170er. Like,
for sure. And he might have a wrist injury for all we know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a good fight.
100%.
It's definitely taking on short notice. He's doing what Chris Curtis does. so it's not out of the weird territory for him. So we're moving on to the main event. We have Tom Aspinall against Curtis Blaydes. This fight, I am super duper torn. I don't know what I want to do. Tail of the tape here. We have Curtis Blaydes 2 years older. He's going to be 1 inch shorter and a 2-inch reach advantage. This fight, it's a wrestler. I'm going to say wrestler versus striker because that's kind of what it is. Curtis Blaydes is a heavy wrestler, heavy grappler. Tom Aspinall's, we just saw him submit Volkov, but he's pretty much a striker. I think this fight's one of the more straightforward fights on the card. I think if Curtis Blaydes wants to win this, he just takes Aspinall down and he grinds it out. I think if Aspinall wins this, he somehow stuffs those takedowns, keeps it on the feet. If he can keep this on the feet, I think Aspinall wins this fight in under 2 rounds. He should clip Blaydes and finish Blaydes, no problem. But Aspinall himself said, it was about 10 months ago, Aspinall said that Curtis Blaydes was his toughest matchup in the heavyweight division. He said that because his wrestling, he said not only is he a wrestler, he said that he mixes in the wrestling really well. He said so he'll wrestle, but he'll also strike, and he does a lot of everything. And he said that this is the toughest matchup by far, and he knows that he'll have to face him eventually. and it's not a good thing for him. So
I did see that.
I don't really know what that means, but I think he knows what a lot of us are seeing is like Blaydes is a legit ass fighter. And I think people give Curtis Blaydes shit. Like he has like the stuttering issue. He's gotten finished, but like he literally is only getting beat by the absolute elite. And that's what it is. I mean, you look at the one thing I like to do is just kind of look at similar opponents. Both these guys fought Volkov. I mean, they both beat Volkov just in different ways. I was looking at Lewis's name. Blaydes took Volkov down, 13 times or something in that fight, just completely dominated him. And then Aspinall dominated him in the first round. So it was pure domination, just domination in different ways. I'm going to lean Curtis Blaydes here. However, I'm saying that right now, but I feel like I'm going to end up betting on it. But I absolutely cannot bet Curtis Blaydes. I just can't. I can't bet him against Tom Aspinall in London at the O2 Arena, main event. Like, he's not going to – I just can't see it happening. I don't know. I think he's going to stuff a takedown. I think it might stuff a second, and he's going to get a finish. But I don't know. I'm going to go Blaydes, but I'm not betting it. I'm not touching it. I'm just going to watch this fight probably and enjoy it. Honestly, the only thing I might touch is like, what is like under 4.5 or something like that? You know, just like something like where it's basically just like a lock, but it's not fight. Like
under 4.5 is minus 250.
Minus 250.
It's not bad at all.
I was gonna say it's not bad at all. Like, but these guys aren't going. There's no way this is going.
Minus 3.5 is 185. I'd be surprised if it goes past 3.5.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I might touch that. But I like that minus 250. That's honestly not bad at all. If that line doesn't move too much by the end of the week, I might put a decent amount on that. Because, I mean, I would be absolutely shocked if this went 3 full rounds. So to see it go 4.5 rounds would be shocking.
For sure.
But yeah, so what do you think?
I'm on Aspinall. Is it super confident? No. But I feel like what he showed against Volkov, I've never seen somebody completely dominate Volkov. I mean, without wrestle fucking him. All right, to be fair, his wrestling got a lot better after that Curtis Blaydes fight. At least I thought it did, but maybe it hasn't because he hasn't fought Curtis Blaydes again. But yeah, I think the timing, speed, strength should be pretty even. Like Aspinall's a big motherfucker. He moves really well. I don't think Blaydes is gonna be able to knock him out. Don't think he's gonna be able to submit him. Maybe, I guess, maybe you could ground and pound him if he tires him late. That's really the only, like, inside the distance path I see for Curtis Blaydes. Like, if he just knocked him off the right hook, I'd be like, wow, that would be pretty shocking. So, yeah, I'm going to have Aspinall. He's going to be at the end of one of my parlays. I'll hedge out if I get to that point because I'm not very confident. I also have a 1.5 play on Aspinall inside the distance. It's even, which isn't, the best number, but, if he wins, it's going to be inside the distance, I think. And Curtis Blaydes wins by decision, like that, this will be a boring ass fight. And if that happens, that happens, but that would suck. You're mute.
I feel that, yeah, I don't think it'll go to decision.
Yeah.
I'd be really shocked if it went to decision.
I think Aspinall within the first 3 rounds or Curtis Blaydes in the final 3 rounds is kind of how this works.
Yeah. I mean, I think if it gets drawn out, it's because Blaydes is just drowning him. And eventually I think he's going to get him with the bows and it should probably finish.
For sure.
And then vice versa. I think if it stays on the feet, Aspinall should eventually touch him up, clip him, and it should be a wrap. So that's how that is. But that
it's only like one. It's either one way or the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's not. I feel like this fight
is too big to go 5 rounds.
Yeah, this fight's one of the most straightforward fights. I think it's crazy that this fight, like most of the time, you get a heavyweight fight and fight doesn't go the distance, or the over-unders are like 400, minus 400, minus 500. Like the fact that we're only getting minus 250, I feel like it's a gift.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy.
It's a parlay piece for sure. And
that might be one of the better ones.
I advise if you are a person that doesn't mind laying chalk, I would also just play that shit straight up.
Yeah.
Put $50 on and get 20 back, put $100 on, put 40, get 40 back. Like, it's kind of, I think that's free money. I think that's just kind of free money added to your account. So,
for shizzle.
So, all right, y'all. Well, we did it, man. We got through all 14 fights. We have an exciting card, a chalk-heavy card. We have a lot of favorites, a lot of hometown favorites. So it's going to be fun. We should see a lot of finishes. I don't think we'll see too many decisions here. Because people are going to be running high on that adrenaline, high on that fan hype. So I think that we're gonna get some finishes here. But I appreciate everybody hanging out, kicking it with us. It's been about an hour and a half. Appreciate you watching. You can find me on Twitter at AntPixem. And then my man Jay, he will have an account created real soon, and we'll get you that information. Please feel free to drop a like. Please feel free to drop a subscribe. We much, much appreciate it. We will see you next week.
I got one last thing to add. And so I'm going to say my this is what I call one of the safer parlays. It's plus 275. I like the under 4.5 for that main event fight. That's at minus 250, minus 275 Paddy, minus 500 Molly, minus 360 Diakese. And I'll give you about plus 275. That's what I'm going to be rocking. A little bit, nothing crazy, but I think that's probably one of the safer 4-legger parlays you can find on this card. I hope everyone has the best of luck in their picks, and we will catch you next time.
Yes, sir. We will catch you all. Peace out, everyone. Have a great night. Best of luck on your bets. Have a great weekend.